would have done the music. Curt, we're live.
Oh my goodness. How are you doing, Mel?
Good. We are live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on something else, maybe YouTube.
Maybe YouTube.
I don't remember which ones, but I know those two. And
well, then let me just start off with a quick thank you I didn't organize any of this like live stuff. You did this. Thank you.
I did. You're welcome. Also, you are smart and don't have any social media presence whatsoever. And I am. So now I'm the one who's like, this ghost, Curt Kempton, is going to host with me.
Yeah. Well, I am now on social media, everybody. Hello.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Actually, I don't see you. Good to comment so I can see your comment. There we go.
Yes. I think it's always delayed a little bit too.
Yeah.
So I just told everybody we're having a small intimate gathering to celebrate, because we don't really like parties I mean, I don't know about you. I don't mind them. I like to have a smaller group of people come together.
I'm a real party animal if there's 5 people there, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
But we're just going to come on here and talk about the podcast a little. It's kind of like our, what is it like? Our live episode of the podcast, except without a theme.
Well, I would call it sort of an announcement that would require a little bit of backstory. And I think this is probably the best format to do it.
Let's do it.
You know, when you first had me on your podcast, that's when I invited you to come on to my podcast that didn't exist. And said,
you mean
want to do a
one?
podcast together? Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, let me just invite you to a new podcast that doesn't exist yet. And you were so gracious, but it was in that discussion that I had with you that I was like, golly, I need someone like this to be able to beat ideas up with. And it just sort of evolved.
Yeah. When did we start talking about it? It was like spring, wasn't it?
When we first met, I was up at a cabin at a family reunion. I remember it was very cold. So it's now very hot here in Arizona. So it's been a long time because we only have like 2 or 3 months. So it could have been December or January. I'm not sure which, but those are the 2 cold months.
So that's when we probably first did the Business Misfits was when you were at your cabin. So we probably did that in December or January, as you say. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't know that you were serious as much in the beginning, though I wished you were. Because
didn't you take my 4 texts and 3 emails to mean that I was serious? Like
in the contract.
Mel, hey Mel, when are we doing this? Hey Mel, when are we doing this? And you're like, that's so cool. That would be so fun. Okay, when are we doing it?
Yeah. Well, I definitely was really excited. Honestly, I was excited to talk to you on Business Misfits because since the beginning of my business journey in, the industry of which we came, you were kind of my role model as a thinker, because you were like, hey, it's okay to not just think this way. And I'm going to be more honest. Our friend, one of our friends today said that we're both, what did he call us? Emotional entrepreneurs. I was like, oh yeah, not robots. I said not Melbot because he was like, is this AI? Because we were having a messenger message.
Yeah, everyone's got to worry about that now.
Yeah. But we are I don't like that term at all.
Well, here's where I think both of us really line up. I don't know exactly if we match this definition, but stoicism appeals to me. Okay. And I feel like both of us are pretty stoic as it relates to stoicism. It's sort of this whole concept that we want the hardship to mean something. We want to be able to understand things for what they actually are, and we are not interested in understanding them only through they say perception's reality. We don't want our reality to just be only things that we have perceived, because that leaves out so much additional opportunity for gathering truth. And I think that was in my discussion with you. I think the comment that I made in our first meeting was something about like, even the bad guy thinks that he's good. The bad guy in every movie thinks that he's a good guy. And The fact is, I don't want to end this life being the bad guy, thinking I was the good guy the whole time. And that's a oversimplification, but it's basically how I view the lens of like all things that I take in as truth. Okay, that's true in this circumstance. Now let's begin the challenging process and make sure that I just want to believe things that are true, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We are the truth tellers. I mean, the truth seekers, not tellers. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, see, I'm already overthinking. What is truth? Interesting. You said stoicism. I feel like a lot of men in the past 5 years took over, what is it, Marcos Aurelio, as like their role model. And then I was like, well, now I don't like stoicism, even though I do actually. I think I am a stoic at heart. And when I read this stuff, I'm like, yep, it checks the boxes for me mostly. But yeah, I guess on the one hand, I am really stubborn in some ways about my beliefs. I don't want to be, though. So that's even more of a pull. There's like a tug of war inside of me often about just double checking, triple checking what my perceptions are, what fact. It's exhausting, actually.
And it can go too far to where it's
yeah.
super unhealthy, you know, like where you basically wring your hands your whole life and accomplish nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. We are trying to not, I think just by having the open conversation with somebody who is on the same path, it's like, it has been the most refreshing business therapy, as I call it, of my entire life. And we get to do this every week together, which is so exciting. I love it. And it's so funny that I talk about it with such joy when we're talking about sometimes really serious things. It doesn't feel serious. It just feels like fun when we're talking.
It's joyful to be able to peel back things that matter. And there's so much of this life that's full of like what I refer to as fried froth. It's like big and salacious, but you eat as much of it as you want. You're never going to get full. And I do feel like a lot of what we discuss, it fills me, you know, the idea that I could just say I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. So whatever our football team is, the best football team, and whatever religion I was born into is the best religion. And the higher power that I worship, that my parents told me about, that's the correct one. And I don't question it. And I'm going to pick one of the political spectrums, and that's the exact one. And no one can tell me any different on any football teams or political spectrums or religions, because I got it all figured out. It was given to me when I was, 10 months old or whatever it was. And that actually works for a lot of people. And I think it's important that while those people probably wouldn't enjoy this podcast, I do recognize that if that works for you and you're enjoying life and it's giving you the stability that you need under your feet, like that's, part of where I come from is like, I have to recognize that for you, that works. Where it doesn't work for me. And
it's not fair. I want to have that belief. I want to not overthink about, all of these things. It really, I wish I could be like that. I really, really do. But I don't know. I think how does this all flow into our business life? It sounds like we talk so much about spirituality and belief and all this stuff, and it really flows so much into business for both of us. I'm going to let you say words.
Well, it goes to ethics, right? And it goes to guiding principles. That's your business is just a megaphone of who you are. I think that your business is a way of being able to put yourself out into the world into a much bigger way than the average non-entrepreneur, just because of the fact that you have the ability, a marketing arm and a customer support arm, and your employees have communication with you. And there's just all these other areas where you get to bubble out, and it truly does magnify who you are. So I would say, I would almost counter your question, Mel. How does it not flow into entrepreneurship, right? Because it feeds the beast.
Speaking of sole proprietors, do you see his comment? Johnny Holston.
Oh my gosh, I see it right here on the side. Johnny Holston. Just had lunch with him. Is it like a month ago now?
Jealous.
Dude, great guy.
I know.
Hey, Johnny.
I think I had dinner with Johnny somewhere, but I don't remember where because there was so much travel.
Mhm.
Could have been Arizona. That would make sense. Johnny, do you remember? Anyway, he is definitely a sole proprietor. He is
Yeah,
just fantastic. And
it's true.
we love you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's the other thing is that you'll see that even though I do have a marketing arm of my business, I don't intend to pour this particular podcast out into it. And it's not, let me just say what a few things, what it's not. It's not because I don't want to grow my business or get myself out there. That's not the reason. It's not because what we're speaking of is like a pearls before swine situation. It's not like, oh, okay, you think that this is above the people that you serve in business. Actually, that's not it at all. My whole business career has been spent sort of in a specific industry. And that industry I love it. I love that industry so much. It's brought so much into my family. There's been a lot of huge breakthroughs, but I want this to be separate completely from my money making, my livelihood, because I don't want there to be any pressure as we dig into these topics that I'm afraid of some sort of um, misunderstanding that what I believe and what I am tossing around and wondering about is a reason to yes or no buy my software. I don't want people buying, oh, he's a good Christian boy, I'm
yeah.
buying his software. No, you buy my software on its merit, right? And likewise, I don't want people to be like, hey, this software, it's really great, but I could never support somebody who worships this way or who
Yeah.
has had these questions. They're just, while I do believe my business is a megaphone of who I am, I want my questions and my thought processes and a lot of stuff we hash out. We don't come to a full consensus on the answers, right, Mel?
Yeah.
But
Well, it's like separate from you, except for the fact that it's right above your head.
yeah, yeah. Well,
I do not want this to affect.
yeah. Hang on. There.
Yeah, it's too late. It's
Yeah.
too late.
Well,
Um,
but I'm not going to be like publishing this out on those channels. You're
yeah,
not going to
yeah,
find sole proprietor coming out through those channels, and I'm not trying to hide anything. That's the other thing is I'm not trying to hide it. I just want to make sure that those two channels
are separate.
stay pure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little different than you in that way because I like attracting a certain kind of person towards working with me. You know, I like sole proprietors. I like business misfits. And
Mhm.
it's not like I'm advertising. I'm horrible at advertising what I do. Ask my team. But
Mhm.
but I like that, if people understand where my heart is and they eventually want to work with me with virtual assistants or whatever, great. But I'm not also going to hold back from what I say. And it's not, what is that thing called when you say something that's like, so you can get all the people, um, you separate people by,
Oh, like divisive or
yeah, something like that.
controversial or
It's like a
something.
marketing thing.
Oh, all
That
right.
Josh
But
taught us.
controversial is
Something you're
marketing
just
too, but
like
yeah.
us against them kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't do that. So I'm the same as you. I'm not gonna talk about what I do. Well, we talk about it. I mean, business
Yeah.
is what we're talking about,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna let it affect my heart or, the way that I present words out of this mouth.
So isn't that kind of interesting? This is the kind of the first example here on our live as we introduce our new podcast out here is that, both of us see this a little differently, but like in a non-judgmental, like, okay, cool. That's how you're going to roll. That's how I'm going to roll. Okay. And, financially, this podcast probably won't be bringing us in. You're already guessing this, I think, as you're listening, like, wow, these guys are doomed. Like that. Yeah. Yeah. I could pay for therapy or I could just pay for a podcast.
Yeah. Well,
That's how I'm viewing it.
a labor of love,
Yeah.
and it's also, it's a labor of love. It is in lieu of therapy for sure, and I think that it's just a way to find community around us, who are
Yes. Thank
also
you.
wanting to talk about these things. And to be honest, I was talking to my friend, Jen Beaupre today, who is a vocal coach, and she's really big on YouTube and TikTok and all these things. And she was saying she's constantly fighting the having to think about what's best for people in the what's best for the people she's serving versus what the algorithm wants or what the business, like the entertainment industry is telling, like the same struggles that we go through in our business where there's that push and pull all the time. I would say it's even more so in entertainment. So it's like all different kinds of people around us relate to this thing that we are talking about.
Yeah. I really resonate with the community side of it, because I do think that while and that's kind of my reason for keeping them separate, is that I have a lot of community in the industry side and some very dear friends. Well, Johnny Halston, perfect example. Dear friends, and they'll find their way over here. I'm going to make sure they can find me over here for sure too. But I think that the community we build here is going to be really interesting too. And in a word, wonderful, because if you're a questioner, if you have had a difficult time taking things at face value and are constantly trying to find more truth in your life, it can be really difficult in other relationships, because there's a lot of people around you who would beg you to stop questioning or beg you to stop overcomplicating, is probably the word that most would probably use. And so what happens, you end up kind of getting this feedback loop within your own head that it's like, I'm the crazy one. I'm the crazy one. And I'm not talking, by the way, about like, all right, well, they say the world is round. I'm not sure about that. I'm going to go ahead and just go back to the concept that it's flat. And then like, I do believe that there are truths that as I look at them objectively, I can quickly and easily come to a very sensible conclusion. And all the flat earthers that just heard me say that are like, what, you know, but
can't please everybody.
Yeah, can't please everybody. For me, it's very obvious that the world is round. It's very obvious as I look around me that there is a creator. It's very obvious that I am a husband, a father, and a business owner, and a community member, and a member of my church, and a member of my industry, and not just a business owner for my employees, but also for my customers. And I have all these roles, and that's clear.
Yeah.
What gets a little bit muddier is I can serve my family through my community service or through my business. I can serve my employees through many different channels. And now priorities start to become a little bit more difficult. And for some people, it might be really cut and dried. You know, some people just say family first, boom.
Yeah.
Family's high priority, you know, but I don't know they're always first.
Yeah. Well, thank you for telling the truth about that. A lot of people do say family first, and that is not how entrepreneurship tends to work. And so I like that you acknowledge that's not always the way that it goes. Yeah. But one thing I wanted to talk about before we move on is that you talked about, your relationship with Christ. I think you said something that in a normal world would trigger me as
okay.
It's not a triggering thing at all. It's just that, you talk about it because it's so much a part of who you are. You just say it. And I was thinking when you said it, like, oh, usually this kind of talk would trigger me because I would think that I'm about to be like,
I said, I am sure there's a God. That was
it.
That's
yeah.
What I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was. And I'm like, and I don't feel that way at all with you. And it's because we both have our different belief systems, which is yours is, you're sure there's a God and I'm not sure what there is. And I'm going to hell for even thinking that I don't know.
And that goes back to your sort of bringing up process of, and that's hard. I know I have a very dear friend. I don't want to like throw out names right now just because I haven't asked for any permission for anything, but I have a very dear friend who is atheist, and he is sure that there is not a God, but the deconversion process from where he was at to where he is at now was filled with what you're talking about. Is that sort of, I am absolutely sure there's not a God. Oh, crap, am I going to hell? Like, wait, what? And it's that internal turmoil that can come.
Yeah. So like, I just want to tell people that even though we say spirituality, religion, how does it work with business? It doesn't mean that we have, or both of us have this set belief system and that we are talking about it like we just both know, you know,
Yeah.
God
Mhm.
goes into our business, God, because there are podcasts that are Christian business podcasts or,
Yeah.
different, and that's just would be like you would listen to them and you would think that it's about, I mean, you would know what you're going to be listening to. I don't want anybody to ever come on and think that we're going to be preaching at them because we're
Mhm.
not.
Mhm.
We really, I mean, we might preach at them accidentally about like other things, but usually it's about,
Yeah.
you know,
I, as we've had our conversations, if I could just maybe add a little extra insight into that,
please.
is that
Yeah.
I feel like both of us have the things that we're sure of and the things that we're unsure of, and they don't always line up.
Yeah.
And I will probably, with grace to what other people believe, I will throw out the things that I'm sure of as
Yeah.
matter of factly as it is, because it's part of the recipe of my foundational like logic process, where you'll stand up and say, but Curt, as I follow my logic process and I don't accept some of those premises, I've come to a different conclusion. And I think that's what makes our podcast interesting. And as we look for guests, I hope that as we build this community
Yeah.
around us, I hope that the people who listen and go, as you're yelling in your car, wrong premise, logic fallacy, okay, cool. Just simply go to soulproprietorpod.com, right? And there's a
Yeah.
little place where you can leave comments for us. We can read them. We're gonna be having guests on and interviewing them. And I think as this community grows, we'll probably be interviewing quite a few different people.
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to talk to people who don't agree with us the most
Mhm.
because it's not as fun to talk to people who just agree with everything you say.
Mhm.
But I think hearing those different perspectives and having that back and forth, like we kind of do that with each other, but
Yeah.
also too many of our views sometimes line up
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
disappointing, really.
And if you're a big fan of an echo chamber, like that would probably sound really nice to you.
Mm,
And I think that probably the majority of people actually do enjoy. Facebook is popular
yeah.
the way that it is because echo chambers are so desirable to so many people. It makes me kind of sick. And to give you an example, I go to church every Sunday. I know what I believe, and I know that it differs slightly from some of the people that I'm sitting in the pew next to. But I'm okay with it. It's totally fine. Um, but I think a lot of those people go to church each Sunday craving to hear the same things over and over again. And I kind of get sickened by it. And if
Yeah.
that makes sense to you, you're probably in the right place.
Yes. I've been able to have really great conversations with some people who are really evangelical who honor the fact that I feel a lot of feelings about that and they're willing to have that back and forth without it feeling like they are trying to pull me to their belief system again or they're trying to,
Mhm.
what is it called, get me born again. I know this
Yeah.
language better than I'm saying it, by the way. I'm just, my brain is evening
It's the
brain.
end of the day. If you're
Yes.
in on the East Coast right now, you're in
6:03
Mel's like after
fog
work
state.
mental. Yeah.
Yeah,
And if
it's
you're with me in Arizona or on Pacific time, you're like, hey, we're just like coming out of our lunch coma.
yeah.
So yeah, this is a kind of interesting time to have the
Yeah.
kickoff.
Well, we put out 3 episodes today. We put out, an interview with you, an interview with me, and then our first official episode, which is, It's Just Business.
So let's quickly break that down, because an interview with you and an interview with me, what does that mean? Like we're just
Yeah,
two co-hosts. So this was, I think, very important that we launch these at the very beginning.
yeah.
So do you want to kind of dive into what that even means?
Yeah, so we started having these conversations and realizing that there's so much backstory, there's so much in our life. I mean, I'm 48, I don't know how old you are, but I've had a lot.
I just turned 46. Brand spanking
Wow.
new 46-year-old.
Little baby.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Appreciate it.
Um, yeah, so just there's so much that brought us to this point of our belief or lack of belief or, our and we wanted to make sure that, first of all, that we both understood where we came from. Because for instance, I didn't even understand the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, which is, did you see how I said all of
You
that?
did it. You did it. Wow. Great job.
I didn't understand anything about it before talking to you. And so you went through some of that background in your interview. In my interview, we're talking about my upbringing, evangelical upbringing, cult upbringing, all of these things that really, like, we talk about each episode and we kind of like go surface level over it. We didn't want to have to talk about it though in depth every episode, like where it came from. And you've actually referenced, because we've pre-recorded some, you've actually referenced, and if you haven't, and this was funny, I think you did it in this business, It's Just Business episode. You say, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my episode, my interview on, we hadn't even done the interview yet.
But we knew we were going to do it.
We knew it. Yeah. So it's just kind of funny.
Yeah. I think, so for those that are listening, and I don't want to say this and like keep you from listening to the actual episode, because there's a lot of meat on this particular bone, but I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, known as the Mormons. And I was brought up in the most Mormon household, which I say that with tons of love and respect for my parents and the community I was brought up in and everything. But just so people know, I dyed in the wool through and through, true blue Mormon, and we're not supposed to say Mormon anymore because we don't worship Mormon. And he's just a guy who aggregated a book that we use as scripture. It goes into it in the podcast. But I grew up that way and then went through a really painful time of self-doubt, spiritual doubt, God doubt, personal like relationship doubt, and feeling like I couldn't talk to my wife about it, like I couldn't talk to people at church about it, and if I couldn't talk to them, who could I talk about? And am I dirty for having these thoughts? And so in the interview with me, I get into that, and I felt like, there's a little bit of pain in there, but there's also a lot of light in there as well. Just sort of like I'm okay now kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I did come out of it feeling like I was really tested in the right way, not tested in the terms of like, did you get the right answer, but tested in the terms of like, what's your strength level at? And have you braced everything appropriately? And I feel good about where I'm at with the, a few caveats that are important to me to make my faith stand strong. Well, when we get into Melody's interview, I mean, I'm not going to say it couldn't be different, because it certainly, we both do have some similar common threads. We're not talking about like Hare Krishna or some other like very wildly different background, but different enough that I just was fascinated by Mel's words as she's kind of telling us about her history too. So it will be a foundational piece to understand the source from whence the next following podcasts come.
Well said. That is exactly what it is. Because otherwise we would have to go back all the time and just be like, remember that time in the other episode when I said, or like we would be repeating stories. And we didn't even get like, we talked for a long time. We did not even get that deep into everything. No. I had to re-listen to my the interview you did with me because I didn't remember what I said and I was a little nervous and worried. And I was like, whoa, we didn't even like get to so many things in there. And it was fine. It actually gave a good background, but you even said in there, like, we're not going to have time to talk about all those things, like all the things today. But we have so much time in the future to talk about all the things.
I know. And that's the cool thing, is that there's no way we could cover our whole spiritual history, questioning history, and sort of revival and everything else that may be involved in 1 hour. And we're trying to keep our podcast to about an hour. So we may need to do some more foundational podcasts. I don't know, but I have a real challenge, Mel. I can't stand my voice. I can't stand hearing myself.
I don't get it.
It's so weird. But if I really want to hear what I said so that I can like, I don't know, is this something I'll send to my parents? Do you know what would be more, I can't think of anything more devastating. If my parents were to listen to that podcast in any way feel attacked. I had the most loving, wonderful parents who were doing the absolute best they could. And I still believe that they're doing the absolute best they can. I wouldn't wish anyone else. But if I said something in there that would even slightly hurt their feelings, it's just like, it would be too much for me to bear.
I know. You're the best person ever. And I feel the same about my parents. I'm definitely more nervous about because I think you're still in it though, like your parents are super do I always have can we say Mormon? Super Mormon
You know
still.
what? For the purposes of this podcast, since we've already put it out there, it's the Church of
Yes.
Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
The
We will
Mormon.
now be abbreviating it to Mormons just for shorthand
purposes.
stuff. Yeah, purposes. I already told you we don't worship Mormons, so let's go from there.
Yeah. I don't feel like anybody would think that you worship like Christian if you say Christian or Protestant but I guess I don't understand the story of Mormon enough. That's the thing.
We can explain another time.
Yeah. So like we got a message from Kathleen Ryan today, one of our friends.
I love Kathleen. I visited her in her home.
She said that on the Responsibid tour or something, which
Yes,
I didn't even know you had. I didn't know you had a Responsitor.
Yeah. It was so great.
She is somebody who I love. She's so truthful and honest, and I feel like she has such a good heart. And she wrote me and she said some things and she was like, you really said a lot of honest things. That was so brave of you to put that out. And I'm like, crap, should I not have put out that stuff? Like
was that being too brave?
Yeah, am I too brave? And I had another friend call me today and say like, how are you doing? Because because she also didn't realize this is a new podcast and I'm trying to like merge a lot of things into Facebook posts that probably sound on all different levels. Anyway, the point is I'm okay, everybody. But I am nervous. I'm very nervous because we talk about things that I don't normally talk about. One being like spirituality. I'll talk about it, but I don't talk about it publicly because I don't know. And then also like we gently go over political things a little bit. I mean, it's a part of my story, so I have to. But I never ever want to have somebody. My fear is being dismissed, and it's something that's so deep inside of me. I have been dismissed. I am dismissed often, and it's going to happen again. I need to get over it. But my initial feeling is like, I don't want anybody to dismiss me just because I said that thing because they don't know that I'm welcoming of all people or whatever,
Yeah. One of the things that I think most podcasts, and I would just say people in general, is that most people have an agenda. Most people have something that they want you to come away agreeing with them on that's either really near and dear to their heart or that is that they just hold as so true and so good. Like, I was a Mormon missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ. Mormon missionary. I was a missionary that went around hoping and praying that people would come to see things the way that I had. And so it's not a foreign concept to me in the least. That all said, I think that one thing that's sort of cool and refreshing about this podcast is that if you open up an NPR article and you read it and it's getting you to try to question something, I presume that at the end of that article, there is some sort of takeaway that they want me to have where I will see things the way that they do. And I think that probably most good journalism is going to be that way. I think that's probably how journalism is supposed to work. I don't know.
I thought I was not do that, but I get it.
Yeah, maybe.
Kind of. Yeah.
I think the author is trying to lead you somewhere. Truly, Melly, what I've really cherished about this podcast and where we're going with this is that while we're not expecting you to wander in the woods for forever, we will throw out some of the positives and the negatives about something and kind of why we're stuck on different things and, why something is extremely offensive to us, even though it should totally not be offensive to us.
Yeah.
And we'll dig in and then we'll be like, and now here's what I'm taking away. I wonder what other people might take away from this because it's very much designed to get you to think about what you truly believe and not replace your beliefs with some of our own.
Yeah, we're not trying to it would help if I had beliefs. I mean, I do have beliefs, but I can't help people. Like I can't be helping people find beliefs if I don't even know my full beliefs. So there's no chance that I'm going to be doing that for other people unless I'm bringing them to my side of living in the unknown. which I wouldn't wish on anybody.
Well, I think that the other cool thing is that these beliefs, these core beliefs, they run through tradition. There's a tradition side and a religion tradition. There's family traditions, societal traditions, all sorts of things like that. And then there's also like the ethical output. Like I believe that God expects X of me, and therefore I hold this ethic in high regard, right? I should tell the truth. I should not steal. Like these are ethics that probably everybody ever would agree on. Even the bad guy who sometimes steals or sometimes tells the truth. Like,
well, he knows he shouldn't steal.
Yeah, ethically, we're kind of all on the same page. And we will probably talk about ethics in a way where, because it's a byproduct of what we're discussing. It's going to be like naturally brought up in every discussion. Yeah, and we're not. We may get a little maybe preachy on that, or maybe preachy is the right word, but we'll sort of hold it up as like, this is sort of the bedrock here that we're working with, and this belief is not congruent with it. And so in that case, we might hold something to be true between the two of us that sounds maybe like everyone should believe it.
Yeah, but then we've had some episodes where we were talking like that, and we had our pitchfork, and we were like, yeah, I don't understand why everybody doesn't have this ethical belief. And then we'll be like, but actually, I think one of the things I was thinking, we were talking about emotional intelligence one time, and I was saying emotional intelligence is understanding and like really being able to put yourself, I don't remember what I said. And then I was like, I guess though other people would say emotional intelligence is not bringing in emotion into something and understanding how to control it, even though there's a definition, there's always different views of what that, something like that could actually mean. Or like selling. We talk about selling things a lot because we both, for me, that's always a crisis of ethics and integrity. And we have friends like Josh Latimer, who he is amazing at telling us why we can sell things without,
and why we ethically need to,
and we should be. And we're actually, maybe I'm going to hell because I'm not selling hard enough.
I mean, I think if Josh Latimer is in this call right now, he would be able to compel us very strongly. So yeah, there's compelling people, there's persuading people, there's manipulating people, there's deceiving people, and all those things show up in sales. And so it's one of those things where you sort of flavor the word sales with the seasonings of what you've experienced in your life. And that's where I say perception is reality. And yet your perception of the way you've been sold to and your parents told you about salespeople and blah, 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 it is almost guaranteed to never line up with anyone else's specific, hyper-specific vision of what selling, for example, is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't even know what selling is. I mean, we have to sell. When you have a business, you have to sell.
Or die. You could die.
Yeah.
You could start a business and just die.
Right. And yet, it's the thing that my soul fights most against.
I know. Hey, I started a software specifically so that I wouldn't have to sell anymore. So like, you're preaching to the choir, girl.
Yeah. I would love to hear like kind of what things people think about, like that we haven't thought about when it comes to business and ethics and integrity and all that kind of stuff. You don't like the word ethics. I also don't. It feels so heavy. And I don't know why. Integrity feels a little lighter, but it is, we are talking about these things, and I would love to know like what other people think about, like what are the things that they can't sleep about at night, that might be different than our things.
Or even core beliefs, like if you don't like the words integrity or ethics, core beliefs drive those. Yeah. We talk about some of the core beliefs that you feel maybe aren't getting enough attention and that should be discussed specifically among entrepreneurs. Another one that you might want to think of is like things that you hate that are becoming normal. And the reason I think that's a good one to start with is because if you don't know what you believe, you can always start with what you hate. Yeah. And I hate people who are late. Okay. Well, if you hate people who are late, I bet one of your core values is be on time, right? Like we can use those things to figure out what we believe. So I'd be really interested in that.
Yeah, me too. I'm just excited for people to listen. I have no idea how we're going to get this out to the universe because we don't like selling things, so we're just going to be like, hey, if you like it, pass it on. But no, we're going to do better because we put so much time, so much energy into this, and we both know that this is a conversation that needs to happen in the greater world and of business. And so,
and if nothing else, perhaps Johnny Holston, if you could find it in your heart to subscribe, we will have a subscriber, and maybe that'll get it out to the universe. As long as we know that Johnny's listening, then we're good. But seriously, I know that you've gotten some feedback, some of our other dear friends too, who, again, I don't want to name drop people who didn't ask to be, but you already said Kathleen Ryan. So, but there's also some others. You sent me some screenshots of some other things that have been said that are super sweet.
Yeah. And, Megan, we can, people like getting their names dropped.
Okay. I don't like it, but okay, cool. Megan likes, wouldn't mind it. Dear friend. I almost get teary when I think about Megan Likes. She has just been a friend through it all. And she said some really kind words. I think she'd be super fun to have on the podcast. I do feel like, as far as someone who's principled, if we can use that in like a substitute for core beliefs, my goodness, that girl is principled.
She's very unabashed with her with her principles. Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't say that. I say that with like, I wish I had more of that Megan in me sometimes, like where I could just be a force like that. So,
well, we'll have her on. I think she'd be a great guest to have on. And she's a perfect example of someone that I almost like hold in reverence, just because I just respect, you've met people who do something that you just like, I can't respect that. Just to share a quick story about Megan, hopefully this doesn't get me in trouble, but Megan's always done things that I just respect the heck out of, just constantly, just time after time. Well, one time she did something that I know she was not very proud of. Didn't do the thing that she wanted to do, and it was a sticky moment because it was kind of her and one of my other friends sort of pitted against each other. And I'll never forget. Like, she's like, on Voxer, she hit me up on Voxer. Curt, I did wrong today. I am getting ready to go make it right. And I don't know, man. I just don't respect anything more probably than just when someone just takes ownership and is able to look at themselves, because you get pretty self-righteous, sometimes. And sometimes you feel like once you've said something, you have to believe that for the rest of your life. And now I can't back down. But man, I already respected her so much. And then she messaged me that, and I just thought, this is exactly the kind of people I want to be around.
Yeah. I also want to mention Charity Wilder, because she was the first person I let listen to our episode, because she is a super fan she's known us both a long time, and she's really just a wonderful person. And she had a lot of nice things to say. And she's also like, she doesn't believe in the things that we believe in. So, and she still loves us and like listening. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, that's a huge feather to put in our cap. I mean, the thing is sometimes you're like, oh, it's a friend. Obviously they're saying nice things to us. Ugh, and then you go, but Charity does not pull punches.
She doesn't. So, she says what she thinks.
Yes.
Sean Day, he's one of my, he is a sole proprietor as well.
Yes.
Very much so. I've talked with him about sole proprietorship often. And he's a great friend. And I think he shared this. Now he will if he didn't, because I just shouted that he did. And Sheila and Pat Clark. Sheila, she was listening this morning. She actually was texting me yesterday with something that she was having an issue with. And it's Just Business podcast episode was part of her issue. Like, she was having something yesterday with that. So she's like, this is exactly what we were talking about yesterday. I'm like, yep.
I love Sheila and Pat. They're a great power couple, but wow. So I know that she's listened. That's a pretty cool thing. Like, wow. I thought only like a couple people are going to hear this podcast, and you're already like telling me all these people I respect that are listening.
Well, I am trying to share it with with people. I don't know if I've done a horrible job or a great job, but I'm trying. That's all we can
No.
say, since only one of us is on social media.
I have a plan to get this in front of a bunch of my
Ooh,
friends, and
okay.
I'll be doing that. I am excited to hear this community come together. And like, just as you're saying these names, I'm like, oh, these are people we had to have on the show, because this is the community I want to bounce ideas off of. And like, I already have like a whole list of questions for our podcast that we could run by Sheila or Pat, that just knowing their history, like, oh my gosh, they could tell a story that would make you guys just, oh, golly.
She has a podcast about her story.
Does she?
She
Oh,
does.
that's cool.
I'll send it to you. I think it's
Okay.
called Perverted Justice.
Oh,
And
what a perfect name.
yeah. And so I will put that out somewhere on our links as well. She is somebody, she calls me when she has an integrity issue, like when she's getting upset about something, because we are both black and white law and order justice people.
Yeah.
And I'm the person who matches her in that. So we have a lot of fun conversations.
I think most therapists spend a good amount of their time getting people to stop seeing everything in black and white, have a little grayscale in their life, because everything is on a continuum. Yeah. And I'm like sitting here going, yeah, black and white.
Well, and it's weird because I am in general a very gray area person. Like people aren't good or bad. People are, like, and then when but when somebody has done real wrong in some way, I'm not going to say justice. I was going to say vengeance be mine. It was justice. I want justice. And I give chances, but I'm like, I don't know. There's something inside of me that just shifts.
Snaps.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. Oh, I want to thank Jairus, who did a bunch of editing for our podcast. He edits a lot of podcasts, his team and him. And I did some editing, and I am so slow.
Well, maybe while you're thanking Jairus, which I extend my thanks to him as well, I need to thank you, because honestly, Mel, you have done the lion's share of the work of making this thing possible. I said, here's the deal. I want to be on a podcast, but I don't want to do anything except for talk.
You literally said that.
I literally
don't want to do anything.
I will talk to you, and then can you make sure it magically gets edited, published, all the ads get done, all the graphic artwork gets done, make sure we have a website, make sure that we have a theme song, make sure that we have a logo, and Melody's like, yes, I can do that. And I'm like, no, that's not fair. Let me do something.
We have a list. We have a list.
But honestly, just huge thanks to you, Melody, for making it happen, because if I was in charge, well, that's why I don't have a podcast, right? Like I never would have had a podcast. If I didn't want this one so bad, we wouldn't have this podcast. So, I thought you were actually going to thank your daughter, who did a lovely job on our. Yeah, let's thank Michaela. Michaela is the one who did our logo, got that all dialed in. Yeah. Figured out our colors and all of that, and our website design.
Yes, we didn't thank ChatGPT for our caricatures.
Oh, yes. Thank you, ChatGPT, for your art.
Thank you, Robot.
Your outlines. Thank you, Robot. Hey, when you become self-aware, I hope you've listened to this podcast, and remember, I always say thank you whenever I ask a question,
which costs millions of dollars extra.
Yes, that's fine. Like they can afford it. And the other thing is that you wrote a lot of our podcasts, like outlines and like discussion points to like sort of get our ideas all organized.
Yes. I can't believe we thanked the robot, but
thank you, Robot.
Sarcastically doing it, but also it makes it a lot easier. It really does.
It's an insurance policy to thank the robot. That's how I see it.
I agree.
Pay your insurance.
Is there anything else we need to say before we come to the end of this? Are you ever going to come on live again with me?
Can I think about it?
Yes, you can. I mean, here's what I'll say. Someday you are going to come on live again with me. You act like you don't enjoy it. You are having the best time of your life right now.
I am. I'm not going to raise my arms up so that you can see underneath my armpits, because Well, nobody needs to see that, but I do. It's pretty anxiety inducing to get on with you. But honestly, I love talking real with you, and it's
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's 0 listeners according to the StreamYard thing, but we know that there are more because Johnny said hi. And yes, sushi in Arizona 2 years ago. That's what it was.
yeah.
Curt, I love this podcast. It's my favorite hobby that I have in my life.
Oh,
I have to call it a hobby and not because my husband just lumps it as business. And we will get our spouses on this podcast someday.
okay. Yeah. Quick update on that one. Not just for you, Mel. Let's just put it out into the world here. So I said, "Hey, Rach, you want to be on the podcast?" She said, "Heck no." I said, "Okay, so maybe just like in a few weeks. We'll talk about it later." So I've already got some
Oh.
movement on it. My wife doesn't like, I don't like the limelight either, but my wife is so smart and we are so anchoring in each other. If there was like a couple where the yin yang was
Yeah.
made, I do believe that our
You and
our
Rachel.
marriage is that. So it'll be really cool. I think you'll learn a lot about me and who I am based on learning about her. And I think you'll also be able to see sort of the messiness of the journey based off of sort of the guardrail that I keep banging up against.
And Matt is a contrarian who definitely, if I want it, he'll be like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
But I think I could get him on. If you can talk Rachel into it, I think it would be interesting.
Yeah.
And maybe, yeah, I have some ideas about this, some thoughts. But
Oh,
and
okay.
if anybody has any ideas of guests that they think we should talk to,
Yeah.
our ears are open, and you can reach us at
soulproprietorpod@gmail.com, or just go to soulproprietorpod.com and then
yes.
just fill out the form there. And you can get on our newsletter there. You can like and subscribe. Well, shoot, I think I did it wrong. You can click on the thing that takes you to the pod where you listen to podcasts and download it.
We're not like this is it is what it is, and we've done so good. I can't believe how good we've done.
No.
And we will continue to do the good work.
Like and subscribe for more tips on how to be good at podcasting.
Yes. Curt, thank you so much for joining me today. And I will see you next week on the Soul Proprietor podcast.
Thank you so much. I am so thankful we're doing this. Bye, everybody.
Bye.